Hey everyone, and welcome back. Are you ready to get into some really interesting concepts? Because today we are exploring the work of Dan Winter, a researcher who ties together some pretty wild concepts. I mean, we're talking about things like Mayan calendars and even stock market predictions.
Yeah, it sounds crazy, but he links these things through the idea of fractality in time.
It's almost like finding these hidden patterns that connect everything in the universe.
That's a great way to put it.
So our sources today are a few of Dan Winter's research papers and lectures.
And you guys, trust me, things are going to get pretty mind-bending.
Oh, yeah.
What's so intriguing about Winter's work is that he kind of pulls from physics, ancient history, and even spirituality.
Wow.
He basically suggests that time isn't this straight line.
Okay.
It's more like a spiraling fractal. And if that's true, it could completely change how we understand time travel, other dimensions, even like what reality is.
Okay, I am already hooked. So where do we even start with all of this?
Let's start with something you might have heard of before, the Mayan calendar.
Okay, Winter talks about this thing. He calls it a spiral calendar, which is based on the golden ratio.
Okay.
You know, that mathematical ratio that's found everywhere in nature, like in seashells and sunflowers.
Right.
He believes these golden ratio intervals in time can help us pinpoint significant events, not just in human history, but in galactic history, too.
So he's saying this like mathematical pattern can unlock secrets of the past and maybe even the future.
Exactly. Take the Mayan calendar's end date. That was around 2012, right?
Right.
Well, Winter connects this to a major shift, what he calls like a bifurcation point that happened something like 11,000 years ago.
Okay.
And he even links it to events like ancient floods. He even ties it to this thing called the photon belt, or the photon cloud.
Okay, I've heard of the photon belt. It's like this area of intense energy our solar system is passing through, right?
Yeah, and Winter suggests that as we move through it, our solar system actually experiences increased compression. Almost like, everything's being squeezed together.
Yeah. And some people even relate this to the concept of like a rapture event.
Whoa, that's getting pretty intense.
Yeah.
But how does the photon belt relate to the spiral calendar?
Well, the photon belt coincides with the alignment of our solar system with the galactic equator.
Yeah.
Think of it like a cosmic crossroads.
Okay.
This alignment is thought to increase inertia, charge, and even the amount of dust in our solar system.
Wow.
And according to Winter, all of this ties back to those golden ratio intervals in his spiral calendar.
So these repeating patterns aren't just about ancient calendars. They're affecting our solar system right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot to process.
I know, it's pretty amazing. And it gets even more interesting. Winter believes that these fractal patterns can actually be seen in other systems too,
Okay.
like the stock market.
Wait, he's saying you can predict the stock market using the same math that describes galaxies and ancient calendars.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Well, Winter actually developed software that uses these fractal patterns to try and predict market fluctuations. And the idea is that when you see what's called harmonic coherence in these cascading energy patterns, you can potentially forecast where the market is headed.
Now that's what I call mind-blowing.
I know.
I have to admit, I'm starting to see how Winter connects all these seemingly unrelated things.
Yeah.
It's like he's found this hidden code running through everything.
Totally. And that's just the beginning.
Oh, no.
Winter also links this concept of fractality in time to ancient mythology.
Okay.
Specifically figures like Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity of the Mayans, and Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom.
Okay, now we're going from the stock market to ancient myths.
Yeah.
I'm definitely intrigued, but how do those two things even relate?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. You see, both Quetzalcoatl and Thoth were associated with, profound knowledge,
Okay.
particularly when it came to understanding time and the cosmos. Winter suggests they both understood something about solar time physics, even though their cultures were separated by vast distances.
So he's saying these ancient cultures might have been tapping into the same universal principles.
Exactly, and Winter draws on the work of another researcher, Maurice Cotterill. In his book, The Tutankhamun Prophecies, Cotterill argues that the lid of Palenque, a Mayan sarcophagus lid, is actually a map of solar flare periodicities.
Hold on, a map of solar flares carved into an ancient artifact.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold claim.
It is, and Cotterill goes even further, suggesting that these solar flares might have even influenced human ovulation,
Wow.
potentially causing population fluctuations throughout history.
Wow, that's a pretty direct link between cosmic events and life on Earth.
Hmm.
So is he saying that the feathered serpent symbol, which appears in both Mayan and Egyptian cultures, actually represents these solar wind patterns?
Precisely. It's a powerful image, and Winter believes it speaks to this deep interconnectedness between what happens in the cosmos and life here on Earth.
Hmm.
But that's not all. He also explores the concept of what he calls the Earth Cube.
Okay, now I'm really curious. What is the Earth Cube? Is it some kind of ancient artifact?
Not quite. It's more of a way to visualize a complex relationship. Imagine a cube in space, and its edges are formed by the Earth's equator, the solar equator, and the galactic equator.
Hmm.
Winter proposes that the alignment and precession of these equators create this cube of space with significant energetic implications.
So it's like a giant cosmic dance with these different cycles and alignments creating nodes of energy.
That's a great way to put it. And this leads us to another one of Winter's key concepts, phase conjugate magnetics.
Okay.
It's how he explains the way magnetic lines converge using, you guessed it, the golden ratio. These points of convergence create concentrated energy.
This is all starting to sound very complex.
I know, it can get a little heady, but you mentioned that there are real-world technologies that use this principle, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Therify.net, for example, utilizes phase conjugate magnetics in their healing technologies. The idea is that these points of magnetic convergence can have powerful effects on biological systems.
So are we saying that energy becomes more potent, more available at these specific points? Is that why many ancient cultures built sacred sites at these locations?
That's a theory Winter explores. He suggests that phenomena like telepathy or heightened consciousness might be linked to these energetic nodes created by the convergence of magnetic lines.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground already, from spiral calendars and solar flares to ancient myths and energy fields.
Yeah.
But there's still so much more to explore. Okay, so we've gone from ancient calendars and cosmic alignments to the idea that energy might be concentrated at certain points on Earth. But how does this all connect to us, like to our own bodies and experiences?
Yeah, that's where Winter's ideas get really, really interesting. He actually has this equation. He calls it the origin of negentropy.
Okay.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
But think of negentropy as the opposite of entropy. You know, entropy is disorder and chaos, while negentropy is all about order, structure, and the flow of energy that creates life.
So he has an equation for the origin of life. That sounds like something right out of science fiction.
I know, right? It might sound that way, but it's actually based on some pretty fundamental principles of physics. This equation uses what's called Planck length, which is the smallest unit of measurement we know of, and combines it with, you guessed it, the golden ratio. That beautiful mathematical proportion we talked about earlier.
Right. So he's saying that these two elements, Planck length and the golden ratio, form like the basis of all structure in the universe.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more mind-boggling. This equation doesn't just describe the tiny world of atoms.
Oh.
It scales up to encompass these huge structures, too.
Wow.
Think like the size of a hydrogen atom, the distance between planets, even the vastness of a galactic year, all fitting into this same equation.
So it's like a universal blueprint, a hidden code that determines the structure of everything from the smallest particles to the largest structures in the universe.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Even units of measurement from ancient cultures, like the sacred cubit that was used in architecture, and natural phenomena like the Schumann resonance frequency of Earth's electromagnetic field, you can plug all of that into this equation.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. But where do we humans fit into all of this? I mean, we're not exactly galaxies or atoms.
Well, that's the exciting part. Winter believes that our bodies, during these moments of peak experience, can actually embed themselves within this universal array, this interconnected web of energy that's described by his equation.
What do you mean by peak experience?
Think about moments of pure bliss or deep connection, profound love, even like intense creative flow.
Okay.
These are times when our energy seems to shift, right?
Yeah.
And Winter suggests that in these moments, we actually become more coherent, more aligned with the underlying structure of the universe itself.
So it's like we're tuning our own energy to resonate with this universal energy field. But how do we actually achieve that? What's like the key to unlocking this potential?
Well, Winter believes that emotions are the key.
Okay.
Not just any emotions, but those peak emotions we were just talking about. He proposes that these moments of intense feeling, they actually act as anchor points within this universal array. Points where our energy can lock in and connect with the larger flow.
So our emotions aren't just internal states. They have like an actual energetic signature that can interact with the universe around us. That's a pretty radical idea.
It is. And Winter isn't alone in exploring this connection between emotions and energy. He draws upon the work of Manfred Clynes,
Okay.
a researcher who developed this technique called scintigraphy.
Interesting.
Clynes actually measured the pressure patterns created by different emotions over time.
Wait, so you can actually see the shape of emotions?
In a way, yes. Clynes found that each emotion, like joy, anger, sadness, they all create a unique pressure pattern, almost like an emotional fingerprint.
Oh, wow. So are we saying that, like, feeling love creates a different energetic pattern than, let's say, feeling anger? And that these patterns can actually somehow influence reality?
That's exactly what Winter suggests.
Wow.
He believes that these emotional fingerprints, they actually translate into specific ratios.
Okay.
These ratios correspond to different levels of energy coherence. He calls it braiding DNA, suggesting that our emotions can literally weave pattern into the very fabric of reality.
This is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We've gone from spiral calendars and solar flares to the idea that our emotions can shape reality.
I know, it's a lot to take in, right?
I have to admit, this is a lot to absorb.
It is, but there's still more to uncover.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched upon Winter's ideas about how all of this connects to the potential for human evolution and our relationship with extraterrestrial beings.
Oh, wow. We're going to need a bigger boat, as they say.
Hmm.
I'm sensing that this deep dive is about to get even deeper. Okay, we're back. Ready to, like, really plunge into the final depths of Dan Winter's research. We've covered so much already, from the structure of the cosmos to the power of our own emotions.
Yeah.
Now I am ready to hear how this all connects to the really, really big questions like time travel and interstellar travel and what it all means for humanity's future.
Yeah, this is where Winter's work takes us beyond, everyday experience and kind of more into the realm of what might seem like science fiction. But he approaches these, seemingly fantastical ideas with a very grounded perspective,
Right.
Drawing on scientific principles and things we can observe in the real world.
So he's not just throwing out these wild theories, he's trying to find a scientific basis for these extraordinary possibilities.
Exactly. Remember that universal array we talked about? That interconnected web of energy that's described by his equation. Well, Winter suggests that this same web, this underlying structure of reality, might hold the key to unlocking things like time travel and interstellar communication.
Okay, I'm picturing like those swirling energy vortexes you see in all the sci-fi movies. Is that kind of what we're talking about here?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Winter proposes that by generating these specific frequencies and energy patterns, we might actually be able to create localized distortions in space-time, essentially opening doorways to other realms or time periods.
So it's like bending the fabric of reality to create shortcuts through space and time.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And he points to certain locations on Earth, like ancient temples or energy vortexes, as these potential natural gateways, or portals where these distortions might be more easily accessed.
But if this is all about manipulating energy, wouldn't that require some incredibly advanced technology?
Technology might play a role, but Winter believes it goes even deeper than that. Remember how we were talking about the power of emotions and their connection to the universal energy field?
Right, yeah, the idea that our emotions have a real measurable impact on the energy around us.
Yeah.
So are you saying our emotions could actually influence our ability to travel through time or space?
Precisely. Winter suggests that our emotional states, especially those of heightened coherence, those peak experiences of love, joy, or deep connection, they could enhance our ability to interact with these energy fields and potentially even access these gateways. He believes that practices like meditation or heart coherence techniques could play a crucial role in this.
So it's not just about building a fancy machine, it's about cultivating a certain state of being, a certain level of consciousness.
Exactly.
That's both fascinating and empowering.
Yeah. Winter believes that the key to unlocking these more advanced capabilities lies in aligning our individual energy with that universal energy field.
Right.
Becoming more coherent, more in sync with the underlying harmony of the cosmos.
It sounds like he's talking about a kind of evolution, not just of technology, but of consciousness itself.
That's a great way to put it. He really sees the potential for humanity to become a truly interstellar species, capable of navigating the cosmos and even connecting with other forms of intelligent life, but not through brute force, but through an expansion of awareness and a deeper understanding of the interconnected nature of reality.
Wow, that's a pretty profound vision of the future. So where do we go from here?
Well, that's a question each of us has to answer for ourselves. Winter's work really offers this tantalizing glimpse into what might be possible, but it also challenges us to consider our own role in this unfolding story. What choices will we make, individually and collectively, that will shape the future of humanity and our relationship with the universe?
I think that's a perfect place to wrap up our deep dive into the mind-bending world of Dan Winter.
Yeah.
We've journeyed from the smallest particles to the largest structures in the universe, exploring ancient wisdom, cutting-edge science, and the extraordinary potential that lies within each of us.
It's been an incredible journey, and we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to explore these ideas further. Who knows what incredible discoveries await us as we continue to unlock the mysteries of time, space, and consciousness.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep reaching for the stars.